Anderson Cooper, AC 360, CNN weeknights 10 Eastern.
Bill Maher, in a recent Vanity Fair article, when asked to describe his current state of mind, he answered, cautiously pessimistic. Bill Maher joins me now. Bill, so should people on the terror watch list be able to buy guns?
Well, you know, this is America, Anderson. Everyone should be able to buy guns, as many as they want, as often as they want, to use wherever they want. That's the American way. You know, the most important amendment is the Second Amendment. Everything comes after that. I'm kidding, of course. No, I'm for gun control. You know, that would be controlling guns to a degree. It's an interesting question that sort of catches the right wing because, I mean, they're against terrorism, but then again, they're for guns.
Well, and it's interesting, the GAO,
but, you know, we do live in a
GAO said like 91% of those on the no-fly list, you know, could pass background checks and get guns. I think it surprises a lot of folks.
Right. I also think we should change the no-fly list to the no getting on the damn plane list. I think they need to make that a little more clear to
more
people.
More specific? The initial reaction that the New York's mayor and some other politicians had was that this was a lone wolf, a one-off. Do you think they were being too politically correct?
I don't think it matters. You know, I think what matters is that there are a lot of young Muslim men in this country and overseas who are on the edge here. I mean, this guy, like a lot of the terrorists we find out about, wasn't poor. You know, he was living this middle-class life. And then, you know, the backup plan, terrorism. His wife left him, or the house was underwater or something, and then, you know I'm a broken record about religion, but, you know, when that stuff is in your head, it just gives you this neurological disorder, and, you know, anything is possible. I don't think the problem is that guys like this hate America. I think the problem is that they like America, and they feel guilty about it. You know, they come here, and they like eating at Chili's, and they like the water slide, and they like going to the strip club. And then they get on their jihadi websites, and they feel terribly guilty about it, and they decide, well, if things go bad, or maybe they don't decide. This guy didn't look like he had much of a plan. But it just hits them, you know. Yes, visiting a painful chastisement on the infidel. Yeah, that's appealing too. Or I might go home and watch Nip Tuck.
It's between those two?
Yeah, it seems like that.
In your show last week, you took on Islamic radicals who made threats against the creators of South Park. I want to show our viewers some of what you said.
When South Park got threatened last week by Islamists incensed at their depiction of Muhammad, it served, or should serve, as a reminder to all of us that our culture isn't just different than one that makes death threats to cartoonists. It's better. Because when I make a joke about the Pope, he doesn't send one of his Swiss guards in their striped pantaloons to stick a pike in my ass. When I make a Jewish joke, rabbis make kvetch about it, but they don't pull out a scimitar and threaten an adult circumcision. And when I insult Scientology, the worst that happens is
So why is Islam the one religion about which so many in America and the West censor themselves when it comes to talking about or making fun of? Is it just fear?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because they're violent, because they threaten us, and they are threatening. They bring that desert stuff to our world. I said the same thing Friday night. You know, we don't threaten each other. We sue each other. That's the sign of civilized people. And they don't. You know, yes, we do have religious nuts in this country. There was a cleric in Iran who recently said that earthquakes were caused by slutty women. Well, Pat Robertson once said that abortions caused hurricanes, I think. But the difference is Pat Robertson doesn't have the power to cut your arms off. You know, I mean, people who want to gloss over the difference between Western culture and Islamic culture and forget about the fact that the Islamic culture is 600 years younger and that they are going through the equivalent of what the West went through with our Middle Ages, our Dark Ages, when religion had way too much power, and we had inquisitions and things like that, do so at their peril. You know, when they caught this guy, yeah, go ahead.
No, when you hear, you know, the off refrain from American Muslims, and the vast majority of American Muslims, you know, abhor this kind of stuff, you know, they will say, look, Islam is a religion of peace. Do you buy that?
Yeah, they blow you up. There's a PC over there, there's a PC over there, there's a PC over there. Is it a religion of peace? You know, I don't know. I have not read the Quran in its original. When you read the translation, there are many, many, many passages that are not peaceful at all, that are about killing the infidel and so forth. There are many passages like that in the Bible too. Not as many. And we don't take it seriously. That's the difference. We blow off our religions. If we took the Bible seriously, we'd look over our fence on Sunday morning, see our neighbor mowing his lawn, and think, working on Sunday, I really should kill him. But we don't do that. But, you know, there are entire schools. You know this, Anderson. You're a globetrotter. You've been to madrasas in Pakistan and so forth. Entire schools where the kids read just one book. They're memorizing the Quran. That's all they do. You know, that's not what we do in this country.
I want to talk a little bit about what's happening on the Gulf Coast, the oil spill. How do you think the response has been? I mean, do you think BP is going to pay for it?
Well, they may pay for the spill itself. They'll never pay for all the ancillary damage that goes on. So I have no idea what the response is so far. It's too early, and to me that's not even the bigger question. The bigger question is, you know, why aren't we moving forward to get off the oil? You know, something we should have started doing in the 70s. You know that in 1984 the average fuel economy for a car was 20 miles per gallon. 20 years later, in 2004, and think about all the technological advances that took place between 84 and 2004, CDs and the internet and, you know, whatever's going on with Bruce Jenner. I mean, there's just been a lot of advances.
What is going on with Bruce Jenner? This is a question I have been wondering.
I don't know.
And have not posed
I should not have I shouldn't. I should not have opened that can of worms.
I think everybody has that question, but people are afraid to ask.
1984. Average car fuel mileage efficiency, 20 miles per gallon. 2004, 20.7. We rocketed up 0.7 in 20 years. This country has not been serious about reducing our dependence on oil.
I got to say, I had Mike Brown from, Brownie, heck of a job, from FEMA on the program last night.
Sure.
And he has this theory that
Right.
the Obama administration wanted this spill to spread, wanted it to spread up the East Coast, because their secret plot is to halt all offshore oil drilling, even though the Obama administration has now publicly supported it. And going back to 2008 in the debates, Obama was supporting some forms of offshore drilling.
Yeah, they're so desperate to make this Obama's fault. You know, as soon as it happened, we heard this is his Katrina because, you know, in the minds of those who don't think too far or too deeply, okay, disaster, Louisiana. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. I don't have to think any further. Bush had his Katrina. Obama had it. Except that, you know, Katrina was something that he was warned about. It was a natural disaster, and they kept saying, you know, days before, the storm is coming. No one kept saying to Obama, oh, the rig is going to blow in 3 days. It's brewing up there in the Gulf.
Bill Maher, always good to have you on. Bill, thanks.
Pleasure, Anderson.